Are you the captain of that team?
I'm a co-captain with Jamie Polinetti and my co-captains, but you know, Monster Media Racing, Derek Swinford owns Monster Media.
Who's when you guys are racing? Like, who's the tactician out there? Who's deciding in these crits? Like, you know, because I know some teams that I'm affiliated with. They're saying, okay, there's one guy that's saying, you know, he's kind of setting the thing up. Is that you?
Right. Sometimes it depends which squad is there. Usually everybody will turn to Jamie before a race and say, okay, the tactics change, depends on what riders we have there, and obviously what riders are showing up. The tactics for San Luis Rey road race with climbing, well, even if a big sprinter is there, like Sharon showed up, well, he's not going to be a threat at the end of that race, right. Okay? But he's a threat in any crit that doesn't have a major hill in it. And so that is, you know, the tactics are, okay, how do we play it out today? And so guys lean on Jamie quite a bit for the tactics. And then afterwards, we always have meetings after the races discussing, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What could we have done better?
But what are your accomplishments in this sport? Like, can you line them out for me?
My accomplishments, obviously I've won national championships.
How many?
Several times. I believe it's 7 total. Obviously there's a few that are really, really close to my heart, more than others.
What are those?
The one off the top of my head, like the one, was probably 3 years ago in the Nationals. We're in Kentucky, but we raced across the river in Indiana, and it was hot. It was over 105. It was humid. I mean, the conditions were gnarly. And Jamie was my teammate, but he raced the age group up. And I went out the day before and watched him race, and he won. He won his national championship. And
sparked you.
Wow. Well, it was the pressure. It was, wow. In fact, the team had a big celebration that night, and I said, guys, I can't attend. Like, I have to go home and mentally toughen up here. I've got to prepare myself in every way. And I skipped team dinner, and the next day I won, and I won from lap 1, turn 1. I broke away with a 4-man group, stayed away the entire race, and ended up just out sprinting all of them.
Would you say that was your ultimate achievement?
On a bicycle, yes, yeah.
So take me through your progression with 5 laps to go. How do you get into position? What is the progression?
5 laps to go. Obviously depends on the course and the tactics, but let's just go generic.
Yep.
Flat crit.
Flat road. Mm-hmm.
And everybody's there that we got to watch. Position is ride the front. You always ride the front.
Why?
Scrub and speed. A lot of guys don't realize that if you take a 4-turn crit and it starts to get really crazy with 3 laps to go, and you're braking just a little bit, you're braking because you're in the mix. You're in the back, and it's doing one of these, and every time you scrub speed or brake, you have to sprint at some point to catch back up. You have to put in an effort in your saddle or out of your saddle, and that's 12 little tiny intervals that you're going to do before you hit the finish line, that if you don't have to do them, well, your odds of winning, like, tripled. So ride in the front. 1, it's safe. 2, you want to keep it at a fast, manageable speed for you and your team. And then just making sure you're watching, 1, who your close competitors are. And
so
2,
you're in the front when it starts to line out. If it's down to 3 laps, where are you? Are you
3 laps.
Are you
I'm
9th
sitting
rider,
5.
7th rider, 5?
5 deep.
That's where you like to sprint from?
Yes. Yes, for sure.
I want to know the competitive rub, even though it's healthy, the competition's good between your team and Surf City Cyclery?
Okay. There is a little rub, naturally. And, Sharon and I are friends, and I respect him as a rider. He's gotten real good the last couple of years. And I laugh a little bit because people say, okay, Sharon's here. You guys got to beat Sharon.
He said you were recruiting him.
I asked Sharon if he was interested, for sure. He's definitely what we're looking for in a rider. I mean, that's exactly what we look for in a rider. Somebody who, he's a genuinely nice person with faith and holds a job and is a master's racer. That's what we're looking for. And he wins. He wins. But it's no longer, yes, there is a slight rub. And Sharon and I have talked about, if it ever got out of control, we would put a stop to it for sure.
Great.
Because right now it's competitive and it's fun for the sport. But it's not, people need to realize it's not MRI against Surf City. There's times where it's the entire field against Sharon. Like, he's getting that kind of respect right now.
That's cool.
For him, if there's advice I can give him, it's just be mellow about it and be cool. Because he is most of the time, but out there, we all get heated, and it's funny. Because I'll chop at him and he'll chop at me, but after the race, we can laugh about it and share preems.
Would you say that you've had more pain of discipline in your cycling career or more pain of regret? I want you to think about that. Pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Which is greater?
Probably the pain of regret.
Why?
Just because I matured later as a cyclist, because I didn't understand how, whether it's genetically, mentally, or physically gifted, I've become as an athlete and as a cyclist. The ultimate question, if I could go back and do it all over again at 18 years old, what would you do different? I would have rode my bike full time and not been in the gym working out, playing football, and benching 300 pounds, squatting 600 pounds. I would have been out riding, trying to maintain a 155, 160 pound frame, and then tried to do the Europe thing, tried to do the NRC for years and years. My chance came later, and in the back of my head, the mental game is, I started too late. When you got a guy like Chris Horner that's only a few days off of my age, literally almost to the day, and he potentially could win the Tour de France this year.
Who would you like to thank to get you into cycling and for you being able to ride your bike competitively?
That would be my wife, 100% of the time. 100% of the time. She rode in college, and then we got married and had kids, and then she kind of gave up the bike for me. But, I mean, completely, 100% backs me. I got the coolest wife ever.
Do you have anything else you'd like to share with us?
Just for maybe the younger riders and even some of the older masters riders.
Okay.
Probably the biggest benefit in my career is when you're on a road trip or you're at a race and you're looking at the riders. I have learned so much from traveling with Jamie Paulnetti, Thurlow Rogers, Michael Johnson, and especially like Thurlow, who's been around, for so long, and to be able to share a hotel room with him and have him as my teammate, and you just sit back and you watch how they eat, how they act, what they do before a race, what they do after a race, how they handle themselves in public, how do they handle themselves at host housing, things like that. And again, taking the good from everybody.